So I know in some of my videos it looks like little flies and like bugs are flying around in the camera, but that's just because I have my phone set on my windowsill, and every time I pull up my blinds, all the dust, yeah, you get it. What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Before I even start off with this video, I just want to say thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. You guys seem to be liking my videos, so I'm gonna keep making them. I know that, see, there's one of those little dusties. So I know I haven't posted in like over a month, and as you can see by that title, I've been a little busy, you know, a little preoccupied, but obviously I just want to let you guys know that if I don't post for long periods of time, trust and believe it is for a very good reason. But yes, as you can see by that title, your girl joined the Air Force. Me of all people, can you see, do I look? As soon as I announced it on social media that I had joined the Air Force, I got so many questions from people, so I was like, guys, listen. You already know I'm about to answer all your questions in a YouTube video, so just go ahead and subscribe. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my MEPS experience, the ASVAB, my ship date, all that kind of stuff. So if you are curious about how I was able to join the Air Force, keep on watching. First question I want to address is why I decided to join the military and why I chose the Air Force over any other branch. Long story short, the job I have now. As you guys know, I am currently working as a leasing consultant at an apartment complex. And really, this job has just made me realize I hate people. Okay, I'm not gonna say I hate people, but I mean, I just kind of feel like I've outgrown this profession. I'm tired of feeling like I'm hundreds of these resident servants and they can talk to me and treat me any kind of way, and I have nothing to show for it. When people talk about living paycheck to paycheck, I absolutely know what that feels like. I absolutely know what that means because of this job, and it's not so much their fault because I knew what I was getting into, but with this job, I don't even have money to put aside for a rainy day, or I can't afford insurance and just things like that. So in all honesty, I was really just looking for job stability, you know, a constant paycheck. You get paid the 1st and 15th, you get insurance, like everything comes with the military pretty much. Now, I think I went sometime last year for the first time to talk to an Air Force recruiter, and Air Force was #1 on my list from the get-go. Like, I've heard so many good things about the Air Force, but when I went to the recruiting office for the very first time, I spoke to the Air Force recruiter, and he was basically like, look, Air Force is looking for mechanics and engineering and electronics people. If you're not looking to do that, then I don't know what to tell you. So I was like, well, I don't want any of those jobs, so maybe that's just not for me. You know, I was looking to go more the medical field. So just keep that in mind that he said that. They're looking for mechanical, engineering, and electronic people. So I went maybe a couple months later and I talked to Navy, and they were basically giving me the runaround, and I just like, I cut it off. I was like, you know what, maybe the Navy just isn't for me. That same day that I was like, forget the military, I got a call saying that I got the job for my current job. I will just tell you guys that after 3 months of working here, I wanted to quit. So like, no exaggeration, I wanted to quit after working here for like maybe less than 3 months. So I got into the process of speaking with the recruiter again. At that time, there was a new recruiter that had been working there, and he pretty much told me the same thing and was just like, if you're not looking to work in mechanics or electronics, like, I don't know what to tell you. So I ended up bringing my dad along when I actually made an appointment to actually meet with the recruiter, and he just gave me the rundown and everything. He gave me a whole bunch of information. And we were basically scheduling different appointments to meet up at different times. So that was in December, January-ish time frame. So fast forward to February is when he actually scheduled me to go to MEPS and to take the ASVAB. I purposely scheduled myself a month out to give myself like exactly a month to study. So from the time that I scheduled my MEPS appointment to the day that I went to MEPS, I was studying. I had this book, but I hadn't really used it because at one time, like I said, I was like, forget the military. But basically I got the ASVAB for dummies, and that's all I was studying. Like, I was taking every single test, practice exam, all of that. And I can tell you, I have never studied so hard for anything in my whole life. Like, I was just so desperate to get out of my current situation, and I was like, I prayed every single day about it, and I was just like, please, Lord, like, oh, I can't stay here. I knew from the time that around that 3-month mark for my current job, I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I am supposed to be in the military. I know this. I can feel it in my spirit. I am not supposed to be a leasing consultant for the rest of my life. So it was finally March 18th, and I was scheduled to go up to MEPS, which was a Monday, which is the day that they basically do same-day processing. And I did that on purpose so that I wouldn't have to take multiple days in a row off from work. Basically, that day I met with my recruiter. He briefed me, and then we all got on the bus. It was like me and people from like a whole bunch of other branches, but I was the only person from the Air Force. So I kid you not, the whole time I was like on the bus at MEPS and everything else, everybody referred to me as Air Force Girl. Nobody called me by my name. I was just Air Force Girl the whole time. Hey, Air Force Girl. Hey, you're Air Force Girl, right? Yeah, that's pretty much what I was referred to as the whole trip. We all rode on the bus to go to Raleigh. They put us in this really nice hotel. All of our meals were paid for. So that night at the hotel, they took everybody who was there to go take the ASVAB or to go to MEPS or to ship out. We all met in this little room and they briefed us for the next morning. The next morning came, I was up by like 4 a.m. The breakfast was actually really good, and they all put us on the bus and took us to the MEPS station. Now I know I keep saying MEPS, and for those who are non-military, that basically stands for Military Entrance Processing Station. Yeah, they lined us all up outside. By this time, it was like 5:30, 6 a.m. They briefed us again. There's a lot of briefings if you try to join the military. So if you're interested in joining, just be prepared to be briefed a lot. They had us go through like this whole security thing to make sure we didn't have any weapons or any like medals or anything on like that. So they had us take out all our jewelry. So if you got jewelry in places that cannot be taken off in public, I would suggest not even coming to MEPS with them because they will make you take them off. Once we got through security, they basically sent us to this one person that split us up. They gave us our folders. And they just told us which rooms to go in. So I sat down with a couple other people in this like classroom type thing, and they just have you fill out a bunch of paperwork. Like, do you have any diseases? Do you have emphysema? Have you ever had an STD? So there was just a lot of paperwork that we had to fill out. By this time, it's just a lot of paperwork, a lot of briefings. They show you a video on like sexual assault and like all kinds of stuff. Now, mind you, we got there at like 6 a.m. and testing for me, for like anybody who was taking the ASVAB that day, did not start until 8 a.m. So those whole 2 hours are just of briefings and paperwork. So just be prepared. Just be prepared for that. When I finally went down and sat down to take the ASVAB, I just want to start off by saying, I know I said that I use this book to study. Not one of these questions was on the ASVAB. There's not one of those questions is on the ASVAB. Not that I thought that it was gonna have every question on there exactly the same, but I feel like that book didn't teach me jack. No, I'm not gonna say that it wasn't helpful, but yeah, I feel like nothing that I studied was even on the ASVAB itself. So that's one point. And one thing that I was worried about before going in is that I wouldn't be able to see how much time I had left, but that wasn't an issue because the test itself has like a little timer and it just shows you how much time is like passing. So that was cool until I got to the math section. I spent way too much time on one question and I ended up not even answering the last two questions because I took too long. So by that point, I was just like, I'm pretty sure I failed. I thought literally I was getting every single question wrong because I had not looked at any kind of questions like this. So the whole time I was just in my head, just like, this is just not for me. And I'm probably gonna have to come back on another day, which I didn't want to do because I didn't want to take off an additional day off work, but I was just so nervous. But after my ASVAB was done, I think you only get like 2.5 to 3 hours to take the test, but I was done around the 2.5 hour time frame. Then I went up to the guy at the counter and I let him know that I was done. He printed off my results right then and there and just put them in an envelope, and he was just like, okay, so here are your results. Like, he looked at them and he was just like, okay, so here are your results. I'm not sure what they mean, but here you go. So I'm just standing there like, Does that mean I failed? Oh my God, please save my soul. So then he tells me there are 2 other tests that I have to take. It's a cyber test and like a TEPAS test, it's like an abbreviation. It's like TEPAS, some kind of test. So right before I'm about to take the cyber test, the guy comes over and he stops me. He's like, okay, like, don't start the test yet. You're just gonna go to medical. You can go to medical now. So I'm like, is he trying to push me through because I failed and I don't need to take the extra test because I had already failed the ASVAB? So I go to medical, and that's where I took my hearing test, my eye test, they drew my blood, all those kinds of tests. I specifically remember taking like my eye test, and I thought it was just gonna be reading that little chart where it's like the letters, you know, and the letters just get smaller and you just have to read that. No, they have you stick your face in this little thing. It's like binoculars, and you just look at stuff at a little screen. Listen, I'm just gonna say this now. I failed my depth perception test with flying colors. So with depth perception, basically they have you look at this screen with a bunch of like rows of little circles, and pretty much you have to tell which circle appears the closest to you. First and foremost, the lady had an attitude. I totally get it. You have to deal with this like 500 times a day. Like, this is your job. I would have an attitude too. As she's asking me, okay, which circle looks the closest to you? I'm like, these literally all look the same size. There's no difference to me. So I just start naming like different circles, and I'm like, circle number 3. She's like, no. I'm like, number 1. She's like, okay, now you're guessing. Which one? You can calm down. But yeah, so basically she was like having an attitude, and she's like, well, you need to know this if you want to be a part of the Air Force. And I'm like, I really just, none of these look different. They all look the same to me. I'm sorry. And she's just like, okay. And then she just sent me to do the rest of my medical. Once I was done with that, I basically saw that she put failed on depth perception, which basically means your girl is not about to be a pilot. I don't qualify to be a pilot. That just knocked me out of a whole bunch of other jobs that require like depth perception that I do not have. So then they sent me in to speak with the doctor, and this is the part that I was nervous about because I heard a lot of things about them trying to trick you and people getting nervous and like blurting stuff out that they have or that isn't even, like, just crazy things. And I was just like, as long as I keep my cool and tell the truth, like, I'm good. So she was basically just asking me certain questions about like my medical history and have I ever done drugs and all kinds of stuff, which I was proud to say I have never smoked weed, and I've never been more proud to say that in my life. Once that was done, she put me through to like the physical testing, and that's when they make you get BBN, booty butt naked, and they have you stripped down into your bra and panties and make you do a whole bunch of like exercises that are like weird and they feel awkward, and you're just like, am I doing this right? They kept telling me I was doing certain things wrong, but I was like, this is exactly what you told me to do. Like, I don't understand. Then at one point, like at this point is when I really thought I was about to like disqualify, and I was about to fail, because she had me like bend over so like she could examine my back, I guess, like my spine. And she's just with the nurse, and they're like rubbing up and down my back, and they're like, ooh, what is that? Oh my, what? Ooh, do you see that? And I'm like, girl, ain't nothing wrong with my spine. What do you? And then like, I've always been this way as a little kid. Like anytime I squat or like do certain like leg movements, you know, my bones pop once or twice. So as they're having me do the duck walk and, you know, all kinds of other exercises, like my knees are popping. And they're looking at each other and they're like, oh, I hear something. I hear stuff. Mind you, the nurse was the same lady that told me that I failed depth perception. So she already had an attitude with me because I wasn't getting it. So she was like, oh, I hear stuff popping. It's not affecting my performance, so you can stay mad. And then they proceed to make you go into like the doctor's room and like bust it wide open for a real one, just so that they can check you down there, make sure you don't have anything. And then afterwards, they had me do a couple more exercises, and that's when I was like so nervous. And after I was done, that's when the nurse was like, okay, well, she's gonna go ahead and write up your records or whatever, and she's gonna tell you whether you qualify or not. When I tell you, I could literally hear my heartbeat, like, oh my God. Which, speaking of, they have you do, the doctor makes you do a test to see if you can pop your ears, and basically I can only pop my right ear. The left one really wasn't doing anything. So after she did that, she was just like, okay, you know, keep trying, keep trying. She's like, only your right ear, you're only able to pop your right ear. Like the left one's not doing anything. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what else am I supposed to say? Like, well, you need to know how to do that to be in the Air Force. And I'm like, this is it for me. I'm about to get disqualified. But then they just have me standing in this cold room, just BBN, and she comes down, she's like, okay, you're qualified. And I was just like, oh. I couldn't act out the way that I wanted to because I was, you know, trying to keep it professional, but your girl wanted to jump and scream and yell it out to the whole world. Mind you, you cannot have your phones in the MEPS like area at all. So I had to have my phone since like 6 a.m. that morning. So I couldn't like yell and call anybody and tell anybody that I had, you know, basically qualified through MEPS. So after that, I basically went out and gave my paperwork to the guy at the front desk. I finally looked at my ASVAB scores and I was like, I don't know what any of this means. So then they had me do a whole bunch more paperwork and then told me to go take my documents and everything to my liaison. My liaison is, the liaison is basically the head of whatever branch you're here for. So my liaison was like the head of the Air Force, you know, people or whatever. So I had to go to her. She had me do this strength test, which my recruiter did tell me about. He was like, they're gonna ask you to do like a clean where you take the weight and you like have to push it above your head. And he was like, the minimum for the Air Force is really just 70 pounds. Like, I guess for women, I don't know if it had to do with my age or my weight or anything, or it was just because I was a female, but he was like 70 is like the minimum that we pretty much look for. So if you can't lift over 70 pounds, like do a 70-pound clean, that disqualifies you from a couple more jobs. Had it on 70, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Your girl couldn't do a 70-pound clean. I'm not that fit yet, you know what I'm saying? So then she asked me, she's like, do you want me to like take some off or do you want to try again? I was like, maybe just take like one off. Maybe take one of those little things off. Maybe I could do that. But your girl did the 60. The 60 was no problem. I could do that. So after that, she printed out a list of all the jobs that I qualify for. Don't pay attention to like all the stuff that I highlighted, but basically these are all the jobs that I qualify for, and a total of 60. I counted them. I qualified for 60 jobs total. I don't know if that's a lot. I don't really know, but like stuff like pararescue, SEER, which is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. I thought that was cool until I watched a video of their training. Whew. Logistics plans, fuels, public health, band. I qualified for the band, but just a bunch of different stuff like that. So I was really excited and I was going through and like highlighting all the jobs I was interested in. So after we reviewed my jobs, I didn't choose a job there because I think Air Force is the only branch where you're not allowed to choose your job at MEPS. But she went over my contract with me, and then after that I went to go swear in. I swore in with this other guy, but I didn't have any family there because anything could have happened. Like, what if I would have failed the ASVAB or disqualify myself? I didn't want to make my family drive 2 hours to see me get disqualified. Like, I had no idea what to expect for that day. I like swore in and everything was good, and now I'm back here. So now, one question that I did get was, did I decide to go enlisted or did I decide to go the officer route? And I decided to go enlisted. I know, before you judge me, hold on, let me finish. Yes, I do have a college degree. So with that being said, I will go in enlisted as an E3 rather than an E1. Now, I decided to go enlisted just for the simple fact that I'm gonna be honest, I did not have the GPA to even be considered to be an officer. So I get told all the time, Diamond, you probably make A's and B's, like you probably get straight A's and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what aura I give off that says that, and I'm glad you guys think so highly of me. But no, your girl, yeah, I did get A's and B's. but there are a couple other grades in there too. But anyway, to the point, when I was talking to officer recruiters, they told me like the GPA I had to have and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't able to even qualify to be tested for that. Instead of kind of being down about it, because officer route would have been better, I kind of see it in a way that going the enlisted route first, because ultimately, yes, I do want to go the officer route, but going the enlisted route first makes me aware of the enlisted side. I just think as a leader, it'll be better to know both sides of the spectrum, you know? Instead of being down about it, I just kind of try to turn a negative into a positive in that way, so that when I do decide to go the officer route, by that time I'll know what I'm leading. I'll know what I'm, you know, in charge of. Now, I did just get my ship date, and I actually ship out May 14th. So from May 14th to like July, you guys won't be getting a video from me for like 8 weeks. So since I have sworn in, I have been talking to my recruiter about jobs. Now you're probably thinking like, do you have a job yet? Like, what is your job? You guys won't believe what job I am going to have when I come out of basic. But just take a second to think, what job do you think that I will have in the Air Force? Just looking at me, knowing who I am, knowing my personality, just take a wild guess, because I'm 99.9% sure you're probably wrong. So, and I'm kind of excited about it. I'm a little nervous, but I'm kind of excited. The job that I will have in the Air Force will be revealed in the next video, because that's when I'm going to tell you guys everything about the job selection process, everything about my job. I do apologize if I was talking really fast throughout this video, but I'm just so excited, and I can't believe like I got into the Air Force. Like, it really hasn't hit me yet. It's not gonna hit me until I'm getting off that bus at basic and they're yelling in my face. That's what I keep saying. If you guys are curious to know what my job is and about the job selection process, stay tuned. I will see you guys in the next video.